The year is 44 AD, a time of great turmoil and uncertainty. A shadow has fallen over the early Christian church in Jerusalem, casting a pall over the fledgling community. King Herod Agrippa I, hungry for power and eager to please the Jewish leaders, has launched a brutal persecution against the followers of Jesus, seeking to crush the movement before it can spread further. His soldiers move with ruthless efficiency, arresting and imprisoning believers, their actions sending a wave of fear and uncertainty through the fledgling community. Among those caught in Herod's net is Peter, one of Jesus' closest disciples, a pillar of the early church. Peter, the fisherman who had walked on water with Jesus, who had witnessed the transfiguration, now finds himself facing the terrifying reality of a Roman prison, his future uncertain. The air is thick with despair. The stench of fear, sweat, and human waste hangs heavy in the cell, a grim reminder of the harsh conditions. As Peter sits in his cell, bound by chains, he knows the fate that awaits him, the same fate that befell his fellow disciple, James. Herod has already silenced James, another of Jesus' disciples, and Peter knows he is next, the weight of impending doom heavy on his shoulders. The charges against him are baseless, his faith twisted into treason, his love for Jesus contorted into a crime against the state, a cruel irony. Yet, even in this desperate hour, a flicker of hope remains, a small but persistent light in the darkness. News of Peter's arrest has spread among the believers, and they gather in fervent prayer, their hearts united in a common plea. In homes across Jerusalem, voices rise in unison, pleading for a miracle, their faith a shield against the encroaching darkness, their prayers a beacon of hope. The Roman prison was a fearsome place, a fortress of despair and hopelessness. Its thick walls, built to contain and crush hope, have witnessed countless acts of cruelty and suffering. The guards, hardened by years of brutality, show no mercy to those unfortunate souls under their watch, their eyes cold and unfeeling. Peter is thrown into a cell deep within the prison, a place where even the faintest glimmer of daylight struggles to penetrate, leaving him in perpetual darkness. 2 Roman soldiers are stationed outside his cell, their watchful eyes never leaving him, their swords a constant reminder of his impending doom and the power they wield. The chains chafe at his wrists, a constant physical reminder of his confinement, each movement a painful reminder of his captivity. The air is thick with the smell of mildew and decay, a stench that clings to everything and everyone. Sleep offers little respite, his dreams haunted by images of persecution and suffering, turning his nights into a relentless torment. Yet even as the walls of the prison close in around him, Peter clings to the memory of Jesus, a beacon of light in his darkest hours. He remembers Jesus' words, "I will build my church, and the gates of hell shall not prevail against it," words that resonate deeply within him. He remembers the miracles he witnessed, the lame walking, the blind seeing, the dead being raised, each miracle a testament to Jesus' divine power. And in those memories, Peter finds a glimmer of hope, a flicker of faith that even the darkest prison cannot extinguish, a faith that sustains him through the darkest of times. As the night wears on and the city of Jerusalem sleeps, Peter, exhausted by worry and fear, finally drifts into a troubled sleep. The weight of his impending execution presses down on him, threatening to crush his spirit. Suddenly, a light floods the cell, a brilliance so intense it banishes the darkness in an instant. Peter, startled awake, shields his eyes from the radiant glow. Standing before him is an angel of the Lord, his countenance radiating divine light. The guards, oblivious to the supernatural event unfolding before them, remain asleep, their snores echoing through the otherwise silent prison. Peter, unsure if he is dreaming or witnessing a divine miracle, can only stare in awe and wonder. "Peter," the angel commands, his voice strong and steady, cutting through Peter's fear. "Get up quickly!" Peter, still dazed by the sudden appearance of the angel and the miraculous light, scrambles to his feet. The chains that have bound him for days, chains that seemed unbreakable, fall away from his wrists as if by magic, clattering harmlessly to the stone floor. "Fasten your belt and put on your sandals," the angel instructs, his voice a calm beacon in the storm of Peter's confusion. Peter, still struggling to comprehend the miracle unfolding before him, obeys, without question. The angel then leads Peter past the sleeping guards, their presence unnoticed, their swords powerless to stop the divine escape. They walk through the prison corridors, each step taking them closer to freedom. As they approach the iron gate that leads out of the prison, a gate that has held countless souls captive, it swings open silently before them. There are no keys, no grinding of metal, just a smooth, effortless opening, as if controlled by an unseen hand. Section 5. Stepping out into the light. Peter, guided by the angel's light, steps out of the prison and into the cool night air. The city of Jerusalem sleeps, unaware of the miracle that has transpired within the heart of its most feared fortress. As Peter walks alongside the angel, the reality of his escape begins to sink in. He is free, free from the chains, free from the guards, free from the sentence of death that hung over him just moments ago. Looking up at the star-studded sky, Peter feels an overwhelming sense of gratitude wash over him. It is a gratitude that transcends words, a gratitude that can only be expressed in the silent language of the soul. The angel, his task complete, departs as suddenly and mysteriously as he arrived, leaving Peter standing alone on the deserted street. The silence of the night is broken only by Peter's own ragged breathing and the distant barking of dogs. Peter, his mind still reeling from the miraculous escape, makes his way to the house of Mary, the mother of John Mark. He knows that the believers will be gathered there, their prayers for his release rising like incense to heaven. As he approaches the house, he hears the murmur of voices, the sound of the earnest prayer. He knocks on the gate, his heart pounding in his chest. A servant girl named Rhoda answers. "Peter?" she gasps, her eyes wide with disbelief. She is so overcome with joy that she forgets to open the gate, instead rushing back to tell the others the astonishing news. Peter is at the gate. At first, the believers dismiss Rhoda's claims, convinced that grief has clouded her judgment. "You're out of your mind," they tell her, but Rhoda insists, her conviction unwavering. Peter continues to knock, his heart filled with a mixture of relief and anticipation. He longs to be reunited with his brothers and sisters, to share in their joy, to offer them comfort and reassurance. Finally, convinced that it is truly Peter at the gate, the believers open the door. Their faces, etched with worry and fear just moments ago, are now radiant with joy. Peter recounts his miraculous escape, describing the angel's appearance, the chains falling away, the prison doors swinging open. As he speaks, a sense of awe and wonder fills the room. The believers, their faith reignited by this extraordinary event, erupt in praise and thanksgiving. They have witnessed the power of God firsthand, seen his hand move in the darkest of circumstances. The story of Peter's escape from prison is more than just a historical account. It is a testament to the boundless power of God, a beacon of hope that shines brightly even in the darkest of times. It reminds us that God is not bound by human limitations, by prison walls or by the schemes of men. He is a God who hears the cries of his people, who responds to their faith, who intervenes in their lives in ways they could never imagine. Peter's story encourages us to hold fast to our faith, even when faced with seemingly insurmountable challenges. It reminds us that even in the darkest of nights, God is with us, his love a constant source of strength and comfort. Each of us faces our own prisons, our own chains that bind us, holding us back from the life we desire, our own fears that hold us captive, paralyzing us with doubt and anxiety. These prisons may be physical, tangible walls that confine us, emotional, like the weight of grief or depression, or spiritual, a sense of separation from God, but they all have one thing in common. They seek to steal our hope, to extinguish our joy, to silence our faith, leaving us in darkness. But just as God intervened in Peter's life, breaking his chains and opening his prison doors, he longs to intervene in ours, to bring us out of our darkness. He longs to set us free from the prisons that confine us, to break the chains that hold us back, to replace our fear with his perfect love, and to fill our hearts with his peace. The key to experiencing this freedom is found in surrendering our lives to God, in trusting in his promises and believing in his power to transform our lives. In trusting in his promises, in believing that he is able to do immeasurably more than all we ask or imagine. When we place our faith in him, when we call upon his name, with all our heart and soul. He promises to be our refuge, our strength, our ever-present help in trouble, our shelter in the storm. He promises to walk with us through every storm, to be our guide and our comfort, to guide us through every valley, no matter how dark or deep, to lead us to the other side of our pain, into His glorious light. So, if you find yourself imprisoned by fear, bound by worry, or trapped in a cycle of despair, remember Peter's story. Remember the God who hears our prayers, who sees our tears, who knows the desires of our hearts. Reach out to Him, trust in His love, and watch as He orchestrates your own miraculous prison break, leading you into a life of freedom and joy.